If you do get a lowball offer, what you should be thinking is, great, we have an offer and now we can work with something, and not, I can't believe that they gave me that number, I'm so insulted. Hey, it's Lawrence Mack, real estate broker, here to talk to you about 7 things that piss off sellers. I've been doing this for a while and I just wanted to go through 7 things that I have found that sellers aren't happy about. And I just wanted to let you know this is completely normal, this happens a lot of times, but I just wanted to go through just common things that you're probably going to experience when you sell your house. Number 1, lowball offers. This happens very, very frequently. And we're just going to use your house for example. Let's pretend it's worth about $1 million and it's been on the market for like 1 day and you get an offer for $900,000. The first thing you get when you get an offer, at least when I get one, is yes, we got an offer. But a lot of sellers just get really, really mad, like, I can't believe they offered me $900,000. This is ridiculous. So the first step is, look, I'm here to be the rational voice in the whole conversation, and I'm just going to let you know that oftentimes the price that we end off with has nothing to do with the price that we started with. That's just usually a way that maybe some cute buyer wants to throw in a number because they think a lowball will work. And honestly, if it's too low, we're not even going to pay attention to it, and eventually we'll be able to negotiate to a price that they want. But the first thing that I just wanted to let you know was that if you do get a lowball offer, what you should be thinking is, great, we have an offer and now we can work with something, and not, I can't believe that they gave me that number, I'm so insulted. Because that's not very productive. You really got to go towards that. I'm just telling you, this is very, very common, so don't worry about it. Number 2, inconsiderate guests. This also happens quite a bit, and it is very unfortunate. So when agents bring in their buyers to see your place, and we do understand that it is your home, we try our best to control things, but sometimes it's not controllable. Sometimes the agent's trying their best to make them not be that inconsiderate, or sometimes the agent isn't considerate themselves. It's not very easy to do, but little minor things like, for example, wearing shoes in the house even though you tell them not to, make sure you turn off the lights even though they leave the lights on. Those little things, they do happen, and again, I know how you might be very, very mad that they do happen, and I do apologize on behalf of all the agents when it does happen, but sometimes it does happen and we just have to try to move forward from that. It's not easy. All we can do, if it is very egregious, then we will try to, maybe we can get the agent in trouble, or we'll talk to the agent, maybe get them to apologize. But it happens a lot, and sometimes we can't even help it. I do know even sometimes a lot of sellers might even, for instance, remove all the toilet paper so that the buyers do not use the toilet. But sometimes, let's just say they're coming in with like a toddler and the toddler really needs to use the washroom. Sometimes they will use the washroom, and if you don't have the toilet paper, it doesn't help. These are little things, and again, they aren't in the right. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is your home and we'll try our best to make everyone behave. But sometimes, it's not easy. And the hardest part again is when they forget to lock doors, and that is usually pretty bad, and we could probably get them fined for that. But sometimes that happens. Hopefully you don't have any valuables in the home. But we'll try our best, and all I can say is, again, these things do happen. The third thing that happens, that sellers really, really get mad about, is when the agent comes in at the wrong times. Because let's just say they book from 6 until 7 at night, you clean up the home, you brought all the kids out, you're out eating, you come back and you find out that they're late by 2 hours and they're trying to see the home. This does happen a lot, and they really shouldn't do that, and I do apologize if they do that. Sometimes they do, and it is up to your choice to say, you know what, the house is clean, why don't you come and take a look? Or it is up to your option to say, I'm sorry, your appointment was between 6 and 7, sorry, book again. And I think that's perfectly reasonable, both ways of doing it. But keep in mind that sometimes they do show up late. Sometimes it's not the agent's fault. Sometimes, because of traffic, or they're seeing multiple homes. Sometimes the buyer's late. It's really hard to control. Or sometimes they are very, very inconsiderate. When they start saying, oh yeah, the listing agent said I can come in anyway, double check with the listing agent. A lot of times agent might lie about that just so they can see the house because they're kind of lazy. But just double check the listing agent. Oftentimes the listing agent won't allow someone to come in outside of those hours. But if it's 5 minutes later, maybe let them in. It's up to you though, because it is your home. And so those things do happen, and if it's frequent or if it's like a frequent agent that does that, we have other methods of trying to enforce it, either talking to the broker of record or get them fined, that kind of thing. The fourth thing, which happens a lot, is seller and buyer feedback. So usually what we try to do after someone sees the home is to call up the agent and ask them, do you have any feedback about the property? Did your buyers like it? That's kind of something that we call seller feedback. And in today's market, it doesn't occur frequently. Like, I do call up every single one of the agents and ask them how it was, but oftentimes they don't reply. Or you email them or you text them, hey, how did the showing go? And they don't reply. And again, this is completely normal, I guess, in today's market. It's great when they do give you feedback. The main feedback you want is pretty much if they give you an offer or they don't give you an offer. And when they don't give you an offer, I think that's pretty good feedback that either you're priced too high or that they just weren't interested enough to reply back to you. If they're kind of interested, usually the buyer agent will just tell you that we're still kind of interested, so if you get an offer, please let us know. But otherwise, don't expect buyer feedback. But if you do get it, for instance, you come in and they say, oh, it's kind of dark in the foyer, and so you replace the lights in the chandelier or whatever, that might help. But oftentimes, you may not get that many. So don't get mad if you don't get that much buyer feedback. Number 5, lockbox safety. So as mentioned in another video, I do use electronic lockbox, and a lot of sellers are concerned about lockbox safety, especially when it's a manual lockbox. So just keeping a lockbox on the front door, if it's manual, it could be easily broken into, or somebody could come in at midnight with the same code and open up the door, or again for a late showing. So ideally you have maybe an electronic lockbox so that you could time lock a certain amount, like either per day, or you can see when they actually logged in case they said they're on time, but they really showed up 2 hours late. That's where an electronic lockbox will help. But the lockbox in general are things that will make the seller, such as yourself, feel a lot more happier that things are safer. Number 6, MLS delay. So this occurs just because of both paperwork and the office and the way the systems occur. But sometimes when the MLS and the listing goes up online on realtor.ca, or you see it on the internet, it doesn't necessarily occur right away at midnight. There's a few steps involved, which is after the paperwork is put in, we have to enter it in the system, or the office enters in the system and then has to enable it all the way to the MLS. So usually maybe half a day to a day delay, whatever it is. So even though it's supposed to be live on Monday, where is it? I don't see it on realtor.ca. A lot of sellers do get mad about that, but it just lets you know that it's in the system processing. Sometimes it's actually in the back end already and the realtors can see it in the database on the back end, but it's just not available for the public until the day later. And all of that is sort of part of the normal process, but don't worry. As a professional, most professionals will get it through and it'll eventually come online. It just won't happen that second. If you're waiting there at 12:01, it may not be there then. And lastly, the thing that I really want to talk about is about not getting the price that you want. And that's a touchy subject because I understand that your home is worth what you feel it's worth. But a lot of times it depends on what the market is willing to bear, both depending on the competition. For example, let's just say you're selling a condo, but the condo upstairs and the condo downstairs with the exact same layout is also for sale. Now you have a problem in terms of competition and you're going to get less than what it's actually worth. Or similarly, let's just say you're in a slow part of the market, such as the summer or the winter. You may not get as many offers or as high of an offer as you normally would. And so try not to get too mad about that price. I mean, sometimes it's hard to disassociate the personal part from what the market's worth, and it is your home. And so there might be a lot of personal feelings for growing up in that home for many, many years and how good this is and how good that is. But when it's offered to the market, it's now a product. You have to somehow disassociate yourself from your personal feelings about how good some of the things are and just sort of compare it with what a buyer is willing to bring. And oftentimes when you get multiple offers, it'll give you a good idea of what the market rate is and what you can expect to get for that particular property. If you already got 5 or 10 offers and they're at, let's just say 900,000, and you think your home is worth $1 million, maybe your home is only worth about 900,000 because of many other reasons, whether it's new, government, like the dump site coming up recently, or there's like new taxes or a new, mortgage rate, or whatever the reason is. Maybe the price is lower in today's market. It doesn't mean that eventually it won't be at the $1 million range, But at the existing market, with the offers bringing in, with the existing buyer pool, that's the price that people are offering. And so sometimes you may need to, I guess, take your ego out of the equation, and even though you think it's up here, maybe it's worth over here. Or maybe it is worth over there. The only way you could tell is by designing it nicely, staging it, offering it to the open market, and seeing what the best offers coming in. And so that's all the advice I have in terms of the pricing. And hopefully these are, 7 things that maybe you have felt yourself feeling as a seller, sometimes from time to time. But I just wanted to let you know that they are completely normal. They seem to come out every single time. And I'm here just to help talk you through it because, it's at the end of the day, you're trying to sell your home, which is now a house on the open market, so that you can move on to the next part of your life. And so as a real estate professional, we're just trying to help you do the best we could do to get you the most money and to get the time that you want. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me anytime. 416-276-4895. Talk to you soon. Bye.